What's up, guys? It's your man Aaron here. Today I'm gonna be going over a huge topic, which means the most people would love to see it. It is about the top 10 most popular, most famous, most influential, most special men's fragrance. There are, of course, more than 10 that are very influential, known by a lot of people, worn by a lot of people, but these are like the top 10 I narrowed down. Some honorable mentions, I will talk them out along the way, but these are at least the 10 I think are worn by most people, known by most people, and gets the most compliments. So let's start it. The first one, of course, is the Dior Sauvage. This one, you probably know it. It's been huge since the recent since it's released. It was released in 2015, so it has a 4 or 5 years history, but it really got to its peak in around after a year it's released, from 2016 to even last year. I think it has been the top 3 sellers anywhere in the world, and it's still going crazy. About Dior Sauvage, my father uses it, and a lot of my friends use it. It's a very gentleman, very elegant, refined, mature man smell. Like, it's not animalic, it's not woody, it's not like monstery, but it gives you the kind of what a mature, elegant man should smell like. It's not very blue fragrance, although a lot of times it's been classified as a part of blue fragrance, but to me it's only like 20-30% blue fragrance. More of it contains spicy, like oriental, a little oriental, but more elegant, more refined smell than citrusy, than blue fragrance. So Dior Sauvage, to me, I'm not gonna wear it, at least not currently. Is not something I like very much, although I don't mind smelling it on the other guy. I mean, it's kind of becoming my father's signature scent. So Dior Sauvage, one of them. By the way, there's no ranking in them, but just the 10 that I can think of. Second one, also a very, very famous, very, very popular one. It is Bleu de Chanel by Chanel, of course. It is released in 2010. Oh, by the way, both Dior Sauvage and Bleu de Chanel have the three versions: Eau de Toilette, Eau de Perfume, and Perfume. Is kind of the trend, like the most mass-appealing best seller will do will cover every single kind concentration. For Dior Sauvage, I like their Eau de Toilette the best. Even though it's Eau de Toilette, it should smell like the lightest, should last the shortest amount of time, but controversially, it is the opposite way. The Eau de Toilette lasts the longest and projects the best. So, and also it's the cheapest. By the way, all like lower concentration perfumes in the same collection will be cheaper than their higher concentration version. So does apply to Bleu de Chanel. But for Bleu de Chanel, I like their perfume version the best, because I feel like the Eau de Toilette and Eau de Perfume are not strong, not citrusy enough. Like, there isn't like a very featured, very special characteristic on the Eau de Perfume and Eau de Toilette version, but the perfume attracts me the most. So I give the most credit to the perfume version, which is released recently. I think it was like 2, 3, 4 months ago. And Bleu de Chanel, of course, as it's named, Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel is kind of like the pioneer, the gate opener for blue fragrance. It has been the most popular men's fragrance for the past decade, and there's nothing other can be comparable to blue fragrance selling amount, to their reputation, because, 'cause, 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 ' literally like nobody dislikes citrus smell, nobody dislikes orange smell. Who is gonna say, I don't like orange, I don't like being clean and fresh? I mean, that's like the basic of the basic you can smell like. So blue fragrance has been the number one, defeating woody, defeating spicy, defeating sweet, floral, all the other types. So blue fragrance is actually kind of not Bleu de Chanel is not the first one who started blue fragrance, but it is the one who pushed it to the peak, who pushed it to the top. So Bleu de Chanel has definitely become very, very influential since it was released, and a lot fragrance brands, a lot niche houses even are trying to make clones or make imitations of Bleu de Chanel. And third one is Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. Well, most of the young guys who don't know much about fragrance are probably not very familiar with this one, but I guarantee you definitely have seen the bottle or smelled it before. Why? Because it is the work by fragrance master Alberto Morillas. Alberto Morillas, by the way, if you don't know him, he is the man in the fragrance community. He is the perfumer. Like, there's not anyone who has the amount of reputation, who is as famous as Alberto Morillas in the fragrance community. He created the Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani when, like, back 20-30 years ago. Actually 20 years ago, not 30. Between 20 to 30 years ago. But there has been an argument about whether is Jackie Cavalier, I think that's his English name. Jackie Cavalier is the current Louis Vuitton's perfumer for men's fragrance. I have two of them back there, and because some news have said they both have worked on this. Some said was Alberto Morillas, but Louis Vuitton, of course, says this is the work of Jackie Cavalier. But from what I know, from what I can think of, is that they do both have worked on it, but back then, Jackie Cavalier was not big, but Alberto Morillas was already very famous. So it was probably Jackie Cavalier worked on this perfume, but under Alberto Morillas' name. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking about, because I mean, nobody is stupid enough to take credits of the most popular, most famous guy's work. How dare he? And Alberto Morillas is not like doing anything, is not suing him, is not like criticizing, oh, you're lying. So I think Alberto Morillas was probably the perfumer of Giorgio Armani back then, but the one who actually made a lot of contribution in actually inventing this perfume was Jackie Cavalier. That's just what I'm thinking about, but both of them take credits in my perspective. So Acqua di Gio is the most sold men's fragrance. There's not one of them. It is the one. It is the one that has been sold the most in human history. So Acqua di Gio is, as its name, is a aquatic, it's watery smell, but plus citrusy. However, it's not very sporty. It's more toward the refined, classic, relatively formal but gentleman smell. So this is different than Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage. I mean, all three of them are different. Acqua di Gio is a more aquatic, it's a more watery, oceanic smell. And the next one, fourth one, is Spice Bomb. This one is kind of new comparing to Acqua di Gio, but this one has created its own area. It has created its own taste, its own feature, which is spicy. Spicy was a pretty popular type of fragrance before Spice Bomb, but years before it was invented. However, it's like it kind of died out as times pass, but Spice Bomb is like the savior of it. Spice Bomb saved the spicy fragrance life and again carrying it to the top area now. And although Spice Bomb is not as famous, as popular as the other three I've mentioned, but it is indeed the most how to say unique one in the list because it is the only one that features spicy and nothing else. Spice Bomb, as it's named, is spicy. It does have spice, pepper stuff, and is if you like spicy smell, Spice Bomb is the one to go. It's just like Blue de Chanel in blue fragrance, Spice Bomb in spicy fragrance. They are the pioneer. They are the one to go for. And I'm not a fan of spicy fragrance. However, Spice Bomb does have something different than other spicy fragrance. It's hard to explain, but I guess because they are like the gate opener. So I would say Spice Bomb is the one to go if you like spicy fragrance. The next up, I originally thought about saying another, but as we were talking about Spice Bomb, Jean Pocotir. This is also a spicy fragrance, but not as spicy as Spice Bomb. It does have some other like dusty, powdery, and just a little floral pepper scent in this too. So is mostly dominated by pepper, spicy stuff, but it does contain other things than Spice Bomb, which is a basically pure spicy fragrance. That's the king of spicy fragrance. This one, Jean Pocotir, is, as you can see, is designed as like a very fit man. So it is targeted to attract men who want this kind of body shape. If you just want like fresh, clean, young, you are not a fan of this. And if you want some woody, oriental, old, ancient Chinese smell, this is not one to go. But if you are like this kind of mature, this kind of confident, proud man and want to be someone in the real world, this is the one to go. I like this one very much. This is also why I got this in my top 10 in the top 10 list. I mean, the top 10 lists are good, they are influential, they are famous, but I'm not buying every one of them because just because it's big doesn't mean I have to be a fan of them. Like, Gucci, Dior, as like their bags, their shoes are very good, very popular, everyone loves them, but just because everyone loves them, does that mean I have to like them? But since it's the fact they are popular, they're famous, I have to mention them. So Jean Pocotir is the one I would go for myself, and I sometimes spray it. Not very much, as you can see, just maybe 3-4 days, but it is good, I like it. And the next up is Polo Blue by Ralph Lauren. This is probably the most American smell in the top 10 list. Polo Blue, it has always been very, very recognized and appreciated in America, and the Polo Blue is like the American boy smell back 10-20 years ago that you would expect, an American tourist is traveling to my country and is a young 20 to 30-ish guy, tall and clean. This Polo Blue is the one they are wearing. So this is actually not a misunderstanding, but indeed back then a lot of American young guys were wearing this one, and it is fresh, it's clean, toward more like a soap, not soap, but like a shower gel smell. Not very much. Remember the John Revito? I talk about that one is much more shower gel like than Polo Blue. Polo Blue is just like a little touch on that, but mostly clean, fresh Polo Blue, and it also belongs to the blue fragrance tab, but not would be considered as a like deep-rooted blue fragrance nowadays. The next up is the one you probably heard the most in the fragrance community, because every single man is talking about this one. It's kind of getting boring. It's kind of getting I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to smell it anymore. It is the king of men's fragrance, Creed Aventus. Creed, unfortunately, is the only niche fragrance in the list. I mean, to me, Creed is kind of getting over the niche indie type house now, because it's known by pretty much everyone who cares about fragrance or who knows at least a little bit about fragrance. They have their own store on 5th Avenue. I visited it, and Creed is in the most expensive one in the top list. I mean, in general, niche fragrances are more expensive than designer fragrance. This is something people weren't expecting, because if you don't know fragrance, you would say designer brand, because they are branded, because they have their name, they must be much more expensive, because they need to once they make a fragrance, they need to duplicate it many times and put it in every store, Macy's, Sephora's, every store, and to sell it. So the advertisement will be a lot. Yes, indeed, that will be a lot. But designer brands, they are not very much relying on their fragrance to earn them the money. They have other ways. Fragrance community to most designer companies, they are the place to say, I am here. I have a good amount of reputation. I have a good amount of followers in the fragrance community. They are not here to like really trying to earn billions of money from the fragrances. No, that's just not how it works. So niche fragrances, on the other hand, is made by smaller brands or like individuals. They are trying to earn some money from it, so they need to put the price high, and they can't just do a mass production of 500,000 bottles each time. They only probably can do 100 to 500, so they need to put the price a little higher in order to get some money to feed themselves, and I totally get it. So Creed, their price for 100 ml bottle is usually from 415 to 435, excluding tax. Plus tax, that would be 460, 470. So Creed is very expensive, but it is expensive for a reason, because the pineapple vibe, the pineapple trend is created by Creed Aventus. Creed Aventus probably has the most colognes in the market in the history. So a lot other fragrances are trying to copy it or to do similar variations of it. I have one here, Mont Blanc Explore. In my mind, I like Mont Blanc much more, not much more, but I like Mont Blanc more than Creed Aventus, because for two reasons. First, I like how the lemon vibe starts opening in Mont Blanc. Second is because the price is much cheaper, much more affordable than Creed Aventus. For this one, this is a 30 ml bottle. I got it for $36, and you see I have a big one back there. I got that one for $40. So 100 ml for $40. What's that? And this one, 100 mils, $400. 10 times the price, 11 times the price actually. What's the sense of doing that? I mean, it is good, but it's way too expensive than many other good inspirations, than many other good colognes of it. So if you want to try Mont Blanc Explorer, Armaf, a lot fragrance are trying to do the same thing as Creed Aventus is doing. So Creed Aventus, but still it is the king of men's fragrance. It is the most expensive and most complimented, most recognized men's fragrance. Next up, we have CK1. It is right here. Trying to let you see it without the light reflecting back. Yeah, you can see it here. CK1. This is another fragrance made by the master perfumer. I said, who is he? Yes, Alberto Morelas is him again. CK1 was invented around the same time as Acqua di Gio, a little bit prior than that. But CK1 is actually a unisex fragrance, but it's more toward the masculine side. CK1 has a story with me. It is the first fragrance I had when I was 10 years old, I guess. When I was 10 years old, I was in the mall, walking around, hanging out with my parents, not hanging out, just walking around with my parents. And I said, well, Mom and Dad, you guys spray perfumes, you guys wear perfume. I guess I need one too, because I like to make myself smell better. So I just see there's a fragrance counter over there, and I walked over there and I see the first fragrance I see is CK1. And I like simple things, clean things. So CK1 is definitely belongs to that type. So I sprayed a little on myself. I was like, ooh, this of course is out my age range, because 10 years old you don't smell like CK1, or CK1 doesn't fit you very much. But anyway, I went for that, and my parents agreed. They bought me the CK1, and I've used it around 5-10 times, but afterward I left it at my grandparents' house, and I've never used the CK1 again until recently, until months ago. I sprayed it again in the mall, and to be honest, I didn't have any memory recalled with that scent, but it is indeed the scent that pushes men's fragrance into a big era. Before CK1, a lot of gentlemen were wearing scents, of course, but CK1 is like the one started a lot guys to start wearing fragrance. So CK1 is definitely worth more mention. Is not selling very well in the recent years, but over the past decade, I think it still has a good amount of selling. So CK1. The next up is Versace Eros. Versace Eros is another like pioneer in its type. What is it? Club fragrance. Club fragrance. What is club fragrance? Club fragrance is usually fruity, not very much fresh, but kind of fresh, and is playful. It usually contains a lot grapefruit, lemon, all those stuff in it. And Versace Aero is definitely the most famous and most purchased one among all club, playful, energetic, active fragrances. I've smelled it. It smells good to me, but not something I want to own, because first, I don't go to clubs. Second, this is more like a night out fragrance. For night out fragrance, I have already some backup back there. So Versace Aero is good, but not something I would purchase myself. They have another one called Versace Aero Flame. Is the red bottle. I don't like that one. I just don't like that one. But for Versace Aero, playful, energetic, a big choice, a good choice for nightclubs. Last but not least, we have Paco Rabanne 1 million. Yes, it is the one that looks like a golden brick, and is fruity again, but with a more scent mixed with guaiac, with maize smell, with wheat smell. So that kind of smell, like a little woody plus fruity and sweet. So different than Versace Arrow, although they both smell very playful to me, but the Versace Arrow is definitely more playful than Paco Rabanne 1 million. 1 million used to be very big when it was out released in its first years, and it's still very famous now, but it's kind of getting like it's been worn by too many people, so people are starting to stop wearing it, and I get it why. So Paco Rabanne 1 million is the last but not least on the list. So here we covered all the 10 most influential, famous, popular, recognized men's fragrance over the past decade. What about you? What scent do you like? What is your top 10 list? If you have anything suggestion, comment below, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.